What's going on, everybody? You are tuned in to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. This is Daily Dive at 4:30. You weren't screwed, okay? We did it. It is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. I am your host, Michael Carbellis, here in Guyton, Georgia. We are live on 12 on Sports via X and YouTube, and don't worry, Roku and Fire TV. I messed up today. Fun story, because I'm not gonna act like I wasn't lazy today. I set my alarm for 2:00. It ended up going off. I scheduled it for 2 a.m. on accident. So that's why we're at where we're at. Now we're good though. 12 on Sports. Be sure to subscribe to the 12 on Sports YouTube channel for other great shows and live sports like college softball airing right now, by the way. On today's awesome show, we're going to do more of the mics. First, we'll get to my general manager of the year. After the break, we'll do my transition player of the year, which I believe is controversial somehow, and offensive player of the year to wrap it up. We want to first let you know this show is presented by the 12onsports.com ticketing platform. Go to 12ozsports.com, click the tickets tab to get very well priced tickets to any sport, not just the NLL, and all your favorite music artists, concerts, not to mention Broadway and theater if you're into that kind of thing. Check it out or go directly to 12onsports.com/tickets. We thank you for your support. Once again, I am doing the mics. Tomorrow we will have a bigger show where I will talk to some other people in the space regarding the awards this season. But the mics rolls on. Yesterday, of course, I unveiled my rookie of the year, and that was Adam Patra. Much like yesterday, I will give you my top 5 from 5 to 2, and then give you a graphic for the number 1 player. So, the first one we're going to do is general manager. Now, unlike yesterday, I didn't really give criteria, but, criteria I feel like applies here. And by the way, for Rookie of the Year, I didn't care about the team success because it's not, the rookies should never worry about team success. I mean, they should, but it's like, we're just trying to show ourselves in the league, and I feel like Adam Patra did that. So, for general manager, I took into account rookies they had drafted this season. I definitely took into account the dispersal draft because I feel like that was fair. I feel like if you did not have a great dispersal draft pick, why should I consider you? That should help make or break things, in my opinion. Call me crazy, but dispersal draft played a big part. Also, who did you acquire this season at the deadline? That obviously has to matter, right? Now, team success was a little bit into this as well, because obviously your moves have to count. But I feel like, there were some, I've heard there's a guy on this list that, might make people scratch their heads. You know what? We're going to go through it, all right? So the mics rolls on with my general manager of the year, our second award here on the show. Number 5 for me was Kurt Malosky. You're like, well, number 5, he got Christian Del Bianco. Well, to be fair, and I don't want to I want to break this down afterwards too, but acquiring Christian, see this. He acquired Christian Del Bianco, did what he could to get his guy. That's the big flex point for Vancouver Warriors, Kurt Malosky. I'll just leave it at that. I'll do the negative stuff, if you will, after I announce the award. Number 4 for me is Rich Lisk of the Ottawa Black Bears. Rich Lisk did acquire, via trade to start the season, Zach Higgins. Not bad. Not many people thought Zach Higgins would do what he was going to do this year. And he did it. Like, yeah, he had a really good year with the Philadelphia Wings, but how much of that was bad defense? I feel like Zach Higgins had a very, very awesome year. Is definitely my consideration for goalie of the year, as he is for many people on their ballots. And of course, this is the hypothetical if Michael Carvelis had a ballot. Thankfully, we host the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet, so I feel like this Mike thing isn't terrible, right? Anyways, we're going to continue. Rich Lisk acquired Zach Higgins, who is probably top 3, at least a finalist for goalie of the year, I would assume. And he acquired Jacob Dunbar. Now, there is some healthy scratch stuff to that. And I'll be honest, I know Jeff T, exploded once Jacob Dunbar was healthy scratched. I'm sorry. Jacob Dunbar was the second best offensive player you guys had for the first 5 weeks of the season. And that has to count for something. Like, isn't it weird to, and again, I'll do the critical part of this later. I'll put it this way, I'll leave it there. But Jacob Dunbar being acquired is a big deal to me. Regardless of what people may say, that's how I feel. Again, healthy scratch for the last 5 games. I'm not sure if that was only, him being bad or whatever, but we'll get to that in the next part of this. Number 3 in my GM of the year, Toronto Rock's Jamie Dawick. And what a finish for Jamie Dawick. And I did not take into consideration, he got these picks and now he's going to bring back his players. I don't care. I can't see the future. What I do know is he was able to land the top 3 rookie draft picks. Now, going forward, I'm not sure if the NLL should not put a precedent in place. I'm not sure how you would police that, but it seems a little bit weird. And I know in hindsight, if he does get his players back, that would be very interesting. But top 3 rookie draft picks seems a bit unfair, especially in a 14-team league. I'm going to give him credit because there's no rule in place, and I'm not sure how people feel about that. He also, in the dispersal draft for Panther City, drafted Elijah Gash, who ended up being a staple of their defense, okay? Elijah Gash is still very raw for this game, but he stepped up in a big way this year, was an enforcer for that Toronto Rock team for what it was worth, and I feel like Elijah Gash was a sneaky good dispersal draft pick. Number 2 for my general manager of the year in the National Lacrosse League, if I had a vote, Derek Keenan of the Saskatchewan Rush. This guy rookie drafted Jake Naso in the 4th round, and he ends up being one of the best face-off guys of the year. In the dispersal draft, Derek Keenan got Matt Hosick, who might be Defensive Player of the Year finalist. Probably will be. And number 3 that he did, he acquired Brock Haley. Ask Kurt Wolofsky if he'd like Brock Haley back. A guy who was thrown to the wolves. And Derek Keenan took that from them, and Brock Haley ended up being a very serviceable player, much like he was in the junior or senior, wherever, much like he was in the lower levels of box lacrosse. I use that term respectfully, lower levels. Which leads me to this. My number 1 GM of the year is going to be Mike Board of the Calgary Roughnecks. Mike Board rookie drafted Braden Maye, who ends up being a very good defender. Dispersal drafted Cam McLeod. And I honestly, like many other people, thought Calgary, if it wasn't for their offense, was going to be very bad. And not only was their offense good, Cam McLeod was not terrible. And it ended up being a nice fill-in piece. Because coming into this year, reminder, the Christian Dobianko stuff was a big deal. And while I do not like Mike Board or whoever it was holding Dobianko hostage, I do think they played the game to the rules, and I feel like Cam McLeod was a very serviceable goalie for the time that he was there. Then on top of that, Mike Board acquires Nick Rose. And whether or not you think Nick Rose is going to be there next year, I don't care. He ends up being a staple of the defense and now could be a very big piece of their playoff run. And of course, he did get compensation for disgruntled Christian Del Bianco. Now, what's crazy about this is the leverage, as I'll now discuss my reasoning for this stuff. Christian Del Bianco only wanted to go to Vancouver. He made that very clear. And Mike Board was still able to get Aiden Walsh, who's probably who I believe I reported is the future considerations, and he was able to get some draft picks and other things. So that is a big deal. He drafted Cam McLeod. He acquired Nick Rose for the remainder of the season for the contending part, and he got compensation for his disgruntled star goalie. That has to matter. And of course, like I said, rookie draft Braden Maye is kind of the cherry on top of this whole deal. So Mike Board is my general manager of the year, followed by Derek Keenan at 2, Jamie Dawick at 3, Rich Lisk at 4, and Kurt Mawowski at 5. By the way, the reason why I'm going to get to the Jamie Dawick thing now, I do think, again, that the top 3 draft picks is a bit weird for the league. Again, there's only 14 teams. You got to think that there's like this thing I believe called the Seppian rule in the NBA, which doesn't allow you to have like all these picks back to back to back. I believe like over consecutive years or something like that. The National Lacrosse League has has half the teams and lets you have top 3 draft picks. I'm not sure if the NBA would allow that. I could be wrong, but it feels like top 3 draft picks in an NBA draft might infuriate the owners. Again, I do think Jamie Dawick played his cards correctly. I'm not saying he was wrong. I'm saying in the future, Jamie Dawick might have created a new rule. And we call the Jamie Dawick rule. You can't have more than 2 rookie draft picks in the top 2 spots. But we'll see. Rich Lisk, I'm going to the Jacob Dunbar part of this now. I do believe that Jacob Dunbar looked like the co-star, or at least a potential future piece of the Black Bears. And I know that the ball died in his stick and he wasn't as good to start. That is true. Here's what's also true. The offense wet the bed down the stretch. Yeah, Jeff Teague got his numbers. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's unfair to Jacob Dunbar because the offense, in my opinion, was better when he was on the floor and playing well. I will add that caveat. Not just on the floor, but when he was playing well. I do think the Black Bears are in desperate need of another player. Because, to be fair, I know the Ottawa Black Bears were going to miss the playoffs, especially after Georgia beat Buffalo. I know that they knew that. But the Black Bears led that game 4-0. Jeff Teague had 3 of those goals I'm talking about the game against the Rush to end the season. And somehow, some way, he scored never again. The first 5 minutes, Jeff Teague. After that, defense figures him out a bit. That's why Jacob Dunbar or someone needs to exist. Because Connor Kiernan and Riley O'Connor and Lawson Sundown, God bless them all, they're not helping. They're not the guys contributing to what this team needs to be. So I think Jacob Dunbar was a very good pick or good pickup because remember, the Seals got rid of him like he was nothing. And Jacob Dunbar ends up exploding onto the scene to start the season, which I do believe could be a good future for him next year if he does stick around. And of course, I'll get to why Kurt Mawowski was only number 5 on my list. Because I feel like you acquire Christian Del Bianco. Great. I didn't see anything else that Kurt Mawowski did. And to me, when a player is adamant, I want to go to your place, I almost ask why it took so long. And I hate saying that. Maybe the Calgary Roughnecks, maybe they didn't want to get rid of him until the trade deadline. But the fact is, from what it took to get Del Bianco, I'm like wondering what the heck, dude? Like, it's got to be asked the question. With as little compensation as you had to give up, I know that Mike Board, the fact that he got anything and Aiden Walsh was impressive. But Kurt Milosky, you didn't give up on Grant. You didn't do it. You didn't give up anybody that was special besides maybe Aiden Walsh. I'm not sure why it took so long. And again, it could be Calgary's fault. But if Kurt Milosky's flexing point is I got a guy who wanted to come here. Cool. Like that. It's good, but it's not going to be the reason I put you over the top. Plus, you did lose Brock Haley, and that to me has to matter as well. So Mike Board, Derek Keenan, Jimmy Talk at 3, Rich Lisk, and Kurt Milosky at 5. That's my GM of the year. We come back to this awesome show. I'm going to talk about my transition player of the year and, of course, my top 5. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Daily Dive.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pods Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And welcome back to Daily Dive, the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. It is currently 4:51 Eastern. Remember, I started the show at 4:30 because I set an alarm that was for 2 a.m. and not 2 p.m. like a fool. I work night shift, full disclosure, but whatever. Oh, all right. So that's why we had a 4:30 start time today. We're not going to do that tomorrow, which is weird. It's my fault. All right. Reminder, if you want to get an audio-only podcast version of the show, go to Spotify and search Daily Dive. The National Lacrosse League has announced a broadcast schedule, by the way, while we're here. It looks like, so there's no linear broadcast of games in the U.S. this weekend, but TSN has got San Diego at Buffalo at 7:30 Eastern. Of course, all these games are on ESPN Plus for the USA folks out there. Calgary, Halifax, as I expected, followed by Rochester, Vancouver, is going to be a TSN doubleheader. And, of course, Georgia, Saskatchewan got screwed all around. I'm not sure why they did that. I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like Saskatchewan against Georgia could have been at 9:30 on Friday. But what do I know? I'm not scheduling these things, but I'm also not super cool in the National Lacrosse League, who thinks ESPN is a good deal. I ranted on that. I ranted on that yesterday. I'm not going to do it again, but just a bit weird. Spencer Conley says, "Let's go Hawks." Spencer Conley and some other person, I believe it was like JT something on Twitter. If you're an NLL fan, like, you got to follow those guys, because I asked him, like, why don't you guys do a podcast with the Rochester Nighthawks? Like, they're always like talking to each other, like in every little forum I see, especially about like the Nighthawks. It's funny. It's dedicated and awesome stuff. I'm not sure how big a Rochester Nighthawks podcast will be, but it's pretty cool. All right, so the mics is going to roll on here. As I unveil my next batch of awards. Remember, I've already unveiled the rookie yesterday, which is Adam Patra. First segment today, I did GM of the year, which is, for me, Mike Board. And now let's get to our transition player of the year. So, again, I'm going to read off my top 5, and I'll try my best to give like the good points. Then as we work our way back to the top and back down, she said, I will give my reasoning why they were so low, if you will. So, again, transition player number 5 for me, Halifax Thunderbird Jake Withers. Biggest flex for Jake Withers is he had 299 face-off wins. I know it's not a face-off of the year award, but Jake Withers also had 21 points. 6 of those were goals and 227 loose balls. So that's the flexes for Jake Withers. And again, I'll critique the rest of it on the way back down the list. Number 4 for me, a guy who also could be defender of the year, is Owen Grant. 103 loose balls, 24 points, including 15 goals, 3 shorthanded goals. So that's impressive, because a defender going up the floor for 15 goals is really awesome. So he was my number 4 pick. And of course, the shorthanded goals is always a big deal in this vote. Number 3, so my top 3, of course, will be my finalist, if you will. Jake Boudreau, Saskatchewan Rush. 159 loose balls, 29 points, including 10 goals, 2 short-handed goals for Jake Boudreau. Those were his flexes. Number 2 for me. This one might be some people's number 1. Halifax Thunderbirds, Ryan Terefenko. 142 loose balls, 38 points, including 17 goals, 4 short-handed goals for Ryan Terefenko. And of course, again, on the way back down, we'll discuss why he wasn't number 1, as if that's a serious issue. What's up, Kai the goalie? All right, number 1 for me, my transition player of the year is going to be Zach Currier. Zach Currier this season had 193 loose balls, had 47 points, 18 of those were goals, also went 6 of 12 on the faceoffs, and had 1 shorthanded goal. Let's break this down now, why Zach Currier is number 1. Now, there's an argument Zach Currier played a lot of forward. You know what? That's a really good point. But when you have 193 loose balls on top of that, not all of those stats came from forward. Like, let's be real. Well, I know, again, 1 shorthanded goal is a big deal. I get it. But if that's the only thing we're looking at, then is anyone saying Brendan O'Neill is a transition player of the year? No. But I believe he had 3 or 4 of those puppies. And so, well, the flex for Ryan Terefenko is, well, I had 4 shorthanded goals. Zach Currier had 51 more loose balls, which to me, loose balls should also be into factor there. My transition player of the year criteria, I probably should have started with this, is loose balls are up there, short-handed goals do matter, but also two-way player stuff matters. Now, obviously, Dane Smith was not nominated. I'm not saying Dane Smith would be my transition player of the year. I'm just saying guys who not just, if you play forward, that's great, but like Owen Grant and Jake Boudreau are defenders. Like, come on. And by the way, Ryan Tarafinko being listed, I believe, is he listed as a transition player? Yeah, good for him. But Zach Currier was a Swiss Army knife. And I feel like Zach Currier, I'm not saying he has to win an award, but those are video game numbers across the board. Again, Ryan Tarafinko had an excellent season, and if Zach Currier didn't exist, 1,000% wins the transition player of the year. And he was very much in consideration for me. But Zach Currier's all-around stat line was bonkers. And that cannot go by the wayside. By the way, Ryan Tarafinko, 8 of 24 on faceoffs. Again, it's not a faceoff of the year award, but that's, come on, man. Like, I feel like transition player is kind of like the Swiss Army knife. Well, that's what I feel like with these awards. And it took me a while, the more I watched the NLL, what a transition player actually was. And I know, like, some guys are like, you know, out the back door. I get all that. My thing is, the goals, the assists, the loose balls, the defense, all of it is like all in like one package. I know like transition also has to be like you're running up a bunch out the back door. Again, I get that. But once Ryan Tarafinko does that, does it really, like, aren't you a forward at that point? Like, I don't think I feel like there's a bunch of fast break stuff going on here, which is cool, but I don't know if there's an actual stat that defines the fast break besides a combination of loose balls and points and shorthanded goals. And even Zach Currier, 193 loose balls, that'll do. Like, that's my breaking point. And of course, he had 9 more points and 1 more goal. Like, that has to matter. Jake Boudreau did have only 10 goals. His loose balls were up there as well, but not as much as Zach Currier's. Owen Grant, 103 loose balls, played a part in my estimation. He was also a big, Owen Grant was up there for me, but like I said, Zach Currier took the league by storm. And Jake Withers did get my number 5 spot because I feel like when you're a face-off guy, you actually have to have transition inside you. And I believe Withers is actually listed as a defender, so is Jake Naso. But those guys have to, like, they're not always, now I know Jake Naso does a lot more of the get off the floor as quick as you can, but Jake Withers stays a lot on the floor, and that's why he got the number 5 spot. Wouldn't be surprised if Jake Withers is a finalist, but he's my number 5 player. All right, when we come back to this awesome show, the mics will continue with my offensive player of the year. Should be fun. Is it a guy a lot of people think should have MVP consideration? Turns out I don't hate him as much. I don't know. Did I just tip my hand? I don't know. Don't go anywhere. Dilly dive at this 4:30 start time like an idiot. We'll be right back. We're going to wrap it up. I'm hungry.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
You need tickets to that next event? We've got them. That's right, tickets.12ozsports.com. Get you to any sporting event, concert, theater event that you can think of. And the promo code 12OZ or ROME gets you an additional discount. Don't feed the massive ticket corporate machine. Go to tickets.12ozsports.com and enjoy the show. America, get back on track with Dust Pods Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When you're getting your tickets for the what's it called? The NLL playoffs. Good Lord, I should know that. Get them for less at 12onsports.com and clicking the tickets tab and searching your favorite team. Or you can go to 12onsports.com/tickets. Either way, you have a great price, the best price on your tickets. It helps us out, which is a big part as well. But you're going to the game, why not help us? There's like you don't even have to tell me you did it, and it won't tell us who did it. So if you're a hater, that's cool. Like, hate, watch along, and get your tickets, and we appreciate you. Even though I don't know who you are, you will be repaid. Maybe. I don't know. All right. The Mics has rolled on. We've still got more awards to give out tomorrow, including an awards show special with some prominent media members. So the Mics has unveiled so far Adam Patra as Rookie of the Year. That was yesterday. Today, I unveiled Mike Board as my general manager. And of course, I unveiled Zach Currier as my transition player of the year if I had a vote. Now, offensive player. You know what the best part about this? I would have done the Mics maybe if I had an actual NLL awards vote. Because I didn't, these now mean much more because it's like Daily Dive transition player of the year, Zach Currier. Like, I could have just been part of the machine and you could have given it to Ryan Tarafinko. Instead, you forced me to name the winner on a show as prophecy. I mean, what are we doing here? I could have just been part of the issue. I could have voted for Zach Currier. He would have finished like third or fourth, but here we are, and he's won the whole thing. It's your fault. Okay. It's time to give out now my offensive player of the year. I want to first tell you my criteria. Then we're going to work our way for 5, 4, 3, and 2. My criteria, this player did not have to make the playoffs. He had to put up amazing numbers, and shooting percentage mattered, turnovers mattered, and sometimes the team you were on didn't matter a little bit, yeah. Primary assists mattered. So let's work our way from 5 to 1. Number 5 offensive player of the year for me, Keegan Ball, Vancouver Warriors. 43 goals was 7th place, but 14 power play goals was 2nd place. Keegan Ball also shot a blistering 24.4%, despite being, no offense to Adam Charlambides, one of the only guys on that Warriors team that can score well, and Keegan Ball was electric. Number 4, San Diego Seals, Wesley Berg. There are some people who believe Wesley Berg is the MVP. Cooper Perkins will not be named. I'm kidding. He said it on Twitter. But Wesley Berg, 49 goals was 2nd place. He shot 28% and also only had 44 turnovers. Amazing. Amazing. Number 3, Rochester Knighthawks. Nope, not that one. Ryan Smith. 20 power play goals, led the National Lacrosse League. His 49 goals was 3rd place, and he shot 27.8% and only had 47 turnovers. Number 2, this player broke a National Lacrosse League assist record once again, and primary assists led the league by 10 plus. Dane Smith was amazing all season long. But number 1 is a player who, didn't have a bunch of assists. The second half of the year cannot be denied. And I know it's not the most valuable player, but the value of having nobody else in your offense that can do anything besides Jacob Dunbar and the team says, "Nah, screw you." Jeff Teat is my offensive player of the year. Now let's work our way back down the list, okay? He only had 56 assists. I'm going to verify this next stat for you. His primary assists, he had 10 less of those than Connor Kiernan. Why did Jeff Teat make my offensive player of the year? Could it have been me apologizing for not having him MVP? Maybe. But shooting 24%, having a league-leading 56 goals on that team is darn near impossible. I've said that Josh Byrne and Dane Smith and Connor Fields and Ryan Smith, or a bunch of guys, I believe, could have gone on that team and put up a bunch of points and stuff like that. But Jeff Teat's the only one doing it for right now. Jeff Teat, like I said, those 56 assists were a little bit damning to me. But here's another stat that's actually kind of crazy. Jeff Teat led the league in turnovers, and it wasn't even that much. Listen to this, okay? So how him leading the league in turnovers, I think he's a big deal. But his stats from the previous 4 years, were the first 4 years he's been in the league, 69 turnovers, 97 turnovers, 83 turnovers, and now just 79. Jeff Teat, despite being probably the most high usage player in the game, had a lower turnover year than you'd expect. Again, 79 is a lot, but when you're getting 112 points, shooting the ball at a 24% clip, and you're the only one on that team, he gets my offensive player of the year vote. Again, I could see Dane Smith. To me, goals have to matter. I said it all year. 32 goals is 24 less than Jeff Teat. The assist record, to me, Dane Smith is an amazing passer. But part of me nitpicking the top 3 and top 5, really, he's got Josh Byrne, Kyle Buchanan, Ian McKay, Chase Fraser. Oh, you get it. The list goes on and on and on. Jeff Teat, what he did with nobody, was impressive. And again, did not make the playoffs. Offensive Player of the Year shouldn't have to. This is the award built for Jeff Teat. He might win it every single year, and he should. I don't know if they go to Dane Smith. I think, again, 24 less goals than Jeff Teat has to matter. I know he almost doubled the assists. I don't care. Jeff Teat, again, this award was built for him. On years you're not making the playoffs, this is where valuable doesn't have to matter. And Jeff Teat carried the Black Bears to a fighting chance at the very end. I think that does matter. Look at me, giving the guy credit. I actually do a top 10 on this, and it's funny. My top 10 ended up being shafted by the fact that somehow Ryan Lanchbury was not on the list. So, but of the nominees, I had 6th place Josh Byrne. Jordan Terrace was 7th. Curtis Dixon would be 8th. And Connor Fields would be 9th. I don't know who was my 10th best player in offensive players. Like, Ryan Lanchbury not being nominated kind of pissed me off. But again, offensive player of the year number 1, Jeff Teat. 2 was Dane Smith. 3 was Ryan Smith. 4 was Wesley Berg. And number 5 was Keegan Ball. The mics will roll on tomorrow in a lesser capacity. Reminder, on Friday, I'll unveil my league MVP. Tomorrow, I'm also going to do Coach of the Year on Friday. Tomorrow, I'll do my Defensive Player of the Year. I'll also do my, who's the other one I'm missing here? I should know this off top. I don't. Defensive Player of the Year is tomorrow. As is my Goalie of the Year. And of course, Friday, I'll do the Coach of the Year and the MVP. Thanks so much for watching this show. I know we had a late start time. It's whatever. I set the alarm for 2 a.m. and not 2 p.m., and that was a dumb decision. All right. Go to Daily Dive LEX on social media to check out all the stories that Leroy is sharing. Also, check out his coaching updates as he tries to navigate high school lacrosse. You can also check out show updates, like where's the show at 4 o'clock? Don't worry. I gave you guys an update on Twitter saying it starts at 4:30 today. You can also check out our reels and other great things on there, and go to the link tree in the social media bios to see the shop and our awesome merchandise, or go directly there at dailydivelacks.creator-spring.com. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. This has been a presentation of 12 Ounce Sports. And of course, this has always been Daily Dive. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye.
Thanks for watching Daily Dive. See you next time.